Good morning, Year 5. This is your literacy lesson for you for today. We're continuing on poetry. We're going to start thinking about the stuff that we want to put in our own poems when we come to start writing that next week when we're back in school. So, right, your start this morning is I put this picture of a Viking attack on. You can sort of see the long ship up here as well. I want you to list 4 metaphors you could use to describe this image of a Viking attack. Now, a metaphor is doing a direct comparison by saying something is something. So the Vikings are the force of the wind or something like that might be one of them because they're a really strong attack. I've also put these on here, different words that you might want to link into your metaphors to help you describe them. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of minutes. If you want to pause the video and then we can move on, and then it makes it a bit short so it's a bit easier for me to upload to YouTube. Okay, right, we'll move on. Make sure those are in. I will be checking for your metaphors when we come back next week. As soon as you hand your books in, me and Miss Conley will be looking through to make sure all your work's done. Right, so this is the poem that we read last week. I know it says turn to it in your booklet. Obviously, we don't have those booklets at home. I think you will have got this poem in your booklet. Don't worry if not. Pause the video. It's right here in front of you. So, I'll let you read that on your own once I've finished, but I'll read it. Sorry, I'll read it myself too, just so you've got a recording of what it sounds like as well. So, a poem to be spoken silently. It was so silent that I heard my thoughts rustle, like leaves in a paper bag. It was so peaceful that I heard the trees ease off their coats of bark. It was so still that I heard the paving stones groan as they muscled for space. It was so silent that I heard a page of this book whisper to its neighbour, "Look, he's peering at us again." It was so silent that I felt a raindrop grin as it tickled the window's pane. It was so calm that I sensed a smile crack the face of a stranger. It was quiet that I heard the morning earth roll over in its sleep and doze for 5 minutes more. Right. So, in your books then, just under where you've done your starter, I want you to tell me what the subject of this poem is. Can you see any everyday words? And which words of these are subject specific? So what I mean by that is everyday words are words that I might use or you might use every day. Just simple words that we use quite a lot. And then which words here, you might make another list with a subheading, a bullet point list, just to list these down. Which words of these are subject specific? So the subject specific ones are stuff to do, might be words that are to do with it being silent. So the poem's about a silent day, isn't it? So it was so silent, that might be a subject specific one. He heard something. Sorry, he heard something. That's to do with being silent, isn't it? Still, we're talking about it being so still. We're thinking about it being silent. Peaceful, that links back to it. There's lots of words that link back to about the subject. So everyday words are some things that we might say every day. The subject specific words are words that specifically link to the subject of the poem. The ones that we need to make this poem about a silent day. So again, pause the video here, just take 5 minutes to do that. And we'll, like I said, we can talk about this in the afternoon when we do a Zoom if any of you are confused, or you can bring it up now when we do a morning Zoom. So, we're also going to think of idioms. So, an idiom is a group of words that is a saying. The words have different meaning when said in this way. So, like this one says, piece of cake. Now, a lot of people, a lot of you have said that in class when you've been with me this year. So, piece of cake literally means a piece of cake, doesn't it, if we say it in that sense? But if we say something is a piece of cake, we mean that it's really, really easy, don't we? Okay, so have a think. When we say it's a hot potato, what do we really mean? You want to pause the video here and come back to. So this one, when we say a hot potato, it means it's like a controversial topic to talk about. So do you remember when we were talking about the Super League in class, the boys who were interested in it for the sake of football? That was called a hot potato because people really didn't know what to say about it. It's quite controversial. So there's this one as well, not hurt a fly. So again, I'll give you a couple of seconds to have a think. What does this one really mean when we say it's not to hurt a fly? Okay, we say this one, not hurt a fly. That tends to mean we're not trying to hurt someone, aren't we? We're trying to, it's not strong enough and stuff like that, don't we? So idioms are a really important part of poetry because they describe and make people think of something different without actually saying it directly. It's a really high level thing to put into your poems because it makes people think. Okay, we'll move on to today's task. So, when we go through this, the poems in your booklet, so you might read this one, for instance. This poem imagines a horror film. So again, you can pause the video here and you can read through it here. And we've got to find together everyday words, subject-specific words, powerful verbs, and idioms. So, I'll go through this myself in a minute so you know what you're sort of looking at. And I'm just going to scroll down. So in your books, this is what your book's going to look like. So you're going to have this poem, imagine it's a horror film. You're going to have idioms coming out of this one, everyday words, subject-specific words, adjectives, and powerful verbs. And around this spider diagram, you're just going to copy them from this poem. So you can go through, you can see where you can find a subject-specific word, and you just put it into that section of the spider diagram. So what we might do now is, just to go over it, so I'll look for everyday words. So words that I might use every day. I'll just change that yellow from yellow so you guys can see it. So I might say it was so funny. Everybody says it was funny every day. So it was so funny. Everybody uses that. I was told at school. We might think about what we're told at school every day. So these are the sort of phrases that we use every day. And then we mix those in with the subject-specific words. So we're thinking about this poem, thinking about imagine it's a horror film. It's going to use horror sort of stereotypes. So here, this one here where we see bloodstains covered his tie. Because that's to do with scary things, isn't it? Something's bloodstains. We might think, so it screamed with pain. Screams are also always associated with them, aren't they? So I'm just going to put screamed with pain there, because that makes sense with what we're doing as well. So, powerful verbs. So verbs are doing words, aren't we? So we need to find those. So, we can see here where it says, when she lied, I saw right through her. So I saw right through her, but this time, the hole in her head bled. It's saying that it's sawing with a saw through her. So that is like a powerful verb in that. So I'm going to use saw there because it's me thinking about that as well. So she laughed. We see she laughed her head off here. They couldn't stitch it back on. So another powerful one, stitch. So it's saying that they can't do something. So idioms are sayings. Now, luckily, this poem is absolutely full of idioms. So angry that it made my blood boil. That describes that you're really, really angry because your blood's getting hot. That's an example of one. If you can, moms and dads might be able to help with this. Some of them will use these sayings just about every day. They're really, really good. They're really, really easy to use. That's sort of what it looks like. I've given you some examples there. When you come to do it, you're going to take apart these things and put them into your spider diagram, just so you can have a really good idea of what it is to make a poem. And then when we come to planning and we come to writing, you'll know what sort of features to put in to your poem to make sure it's a really high year 5 level piece. Right, I'll leave it there. If you do need any help with this, don't be afraid to email me, and I'll see you soon on the Zooms. Take care, goodbye.